Lego Nexo Nights Movie Magic, written by Rebecca L. Schmidt. Lights, camera, action. The Nexo Nights team was hard at work, practicing in the holo training gym. Macy smiled as she swung her mace. She had grown up hearing about the adventures of great knights and heroes. Now she was one of them. Training with her fellow team members was a dream come true. Across the gym, Lance was not as excited to train as Macy. Instead of fighting, Lance climbed on top of his weapon to get away. "What are you doing? This isn't training. It's you running away," Clay said, irritated. Just then, Lance's phone began to ring. "Time out! I call a time out," Lance said. Clay sighed as yet another training session came to an early end. But Lance was too excited to notice. It was his agent on the phone. "You got the part," the agent said. "Yes, and I so deserve it," Lance said. He was going to be the lead actor in the new Golden Castle movie. "I don't believe it," Axel said. "I actually can't believe it," Clay said. Murloc defeated Monstrox in the original movie, like in real history. Who would you play? Macy suddenly had a very bad feeling. "Oh no," she gasped. "Please don't tell me that you, the shallowest knight ever, are playing Ned Knightley, the greatest knight there ever was." "Of course not," Lance said. "This film is a reimagining, a historical art house sci-fi epic." Macy sighed. Somehow that sounded even worse than Lance playing one of her heroes. But Lance wasn't done yet. "And even more great news, you can all be in it, as extras and bit players, of course." Macy hoped that she was wrong and that the movie would be great, but she still had a bad feeling about this. That's nice of him. He's going to invite his friends to be in the movie with him. A new evil plan. While the knights headed to the movie set in Holowood, the villains Jestro and the Book of Monsters were up to no good. "I love the smell of destruction in the morning," Jestro said as he watched his army of monsters destroy a town. The Book of Monsters wasn't listening. He was more interested in a poster he saw on the side of the house. "The Golden Castle. That brings me back to the good old days," he said. "I heard that Monstrox tried to take it, but Murloc and his knights stopped him." "That's a poster for the remake of a famous movie," Jestro explained. "I've been on the shelf for a while, remember?" the Book of Monsters said. "What's a movie?" "It's like a play projected on a screen. They film it with actors who read lines from a script," Jestro explained. "People have to say what's ever in this script?" the book asked. "Such power. We have to get this script so I can totally digest it." "But how are we going to be sneaky enough to do that?" Jestro asked. All the monsters he knew were much too big or loud to help. But the Book of Monsters had a perfect idea. "Summon Lavaria, super spy, sneaky as all get out." Jestro waved his magical staff over the Book of Monsters. Red Rover, send Lavaria over." A huge cloud of purple magic leapt off the page and transformed into Lavaria. "Nice to get out," she said. Jestro and the Book of Monsters smiled. With the sneaky Lavaria on their side, it was time to get the show on the road. An actor's life. On the set of the Golden Castle, Lance was having a great time playing the hero. "Don't fret," he said, as he sent 2 squire bots flying. "I, Lance Richmond, greatest of all the knights, will save the day." He thinks a lot of himself, doesn't he? Aaron nudged Clay. It was time for Clay's line. "Yea, verily," Clay said, rolling his eyes. "Thank Arthur Eaglewing for you, because I wanted to run away again. Also, I wet my night suit again." Oh my, he wet his night suit. Macy groaned. She couldn't believe they were being forced to say lines from such an awful script. This was exactly what she had been afraid of. Macy's line was next, but she refused to say the terrible dialogue. The dialogue is what the actors say. "Cut, cut," Cut, the director yelled. Read the words that my genius has approved. But Macy has had enough. Never. I won't be part of this farce, she yelled back. Macy, please, don't do it for you. Do it for me, Lance said. But Macy just stormed off the set. Time for an upgrade. While everyone was worrying about the script, Axel returned to the fortress to visit Murloc 2.0 and the knights in training, Ava and Robin. Axel, what are you wearing? Murloc 2.0 asked. Part of my costume, Axel said, turning around to show his friends the fake upgrades on his movie outfit. That gave Robin an idea. He could actually upgrade Axel's armor to make it more powerful for real. I could make it hammer stuff with a force of about 1,000 pounds per square inch, Robin said, imagining all the fun possibilities. Oh, really? Axel asked. I do like to hammer. Robin got to work really quickly. This was going to be fun. Later that day, the Nexo Knights team was training again. But Macy, she wasn't enjoying it anymore. She was too angry. Her mace swept Axel off his feet, and she grabbed Aaron's shield from right beneath him. Aaron hit the ground, hard. Excellent technique, Clay said as Macy struck her mace against his sword. But you seem a little upset today, Macy. Something you'd like to talk about? He asked. Macy sighed. It was time to tell her friends what had really been bothering her. Macy felt different from the others. Her father, the king, didn't want her to be a real knight. And now, this movie made everything she had fought so hard to be a part of look silly. All of you are real knights, and no one can ever take that away from you. It was driving her crazy. Nearby, in the fortress control room, Ava was surprised to find Robin, surrounded by all the knight's shields and armor. Everything was in pieces. Robin, what are you doing? Ava asked. Well, I declared maybe all the knights could use a boost, Robin said. Ava shook her head and let Robin get back to work. She just hoped that Robin could finish the upgrades before the knights needed their powers. I hope he can too. A sneaky success. Meanwhile, Lavoria had sneaked Jestro and the Book of Monsters onto the movie set. Now, all they needed was to find a script for the Book of Monsters to eat. But their search was quickly interrupted when they ran into the director of the movie. You are supposed to be on set, the director yelled at Lavorio, Jestro, and the Book of Monsters. He thought they were the actors. Oh no. The director was not impressed with Jestro or his outfit. I need a monster, not some crazy half-jester, he said. You insult me, I'll destroy you, Jestro said. If the director wanted a monster, he'd show him a monster. He raised his staff and summoned Bernsey from the Book of Monsters. The director screamed and his script went flying. Now was the villain's chance. Jestro grabbed the script and fed it to the Book of Monsters. The actors aren't going to know what to say anymore. Energized by its power, monsters poured out of the evil book's pages and onto the movie set. The knights couldn't believe their eyes. How had the evil villain sneaked past them? No, Jestro's going to ruin my movie. We have to stop him from destroying my career, Lance said, running into the battle. We have to stop them because they're monsters, said Clay, leading the rest of the knights into the fight. It was time to stop acting like knights and to actually be knights. There was only one problem. Almost all of the knights were wearing costume armor and carrying fake weapons. That's not going to help them. They would need more than that to defeat Jestro and his army. Aaron raced back to the fortress to get their armor from Robin. Axel, you're the only one in your real armor. You've got to hold them off until we get a costume change, Lance said. Sure thing, Axel said, grinning. Filming, keep filming. The director pointed his camera at the battle. This was just what he needed for his movie. So now he's going to put the real fight in the movie. There were monsters everywhere, full of the power from the director's script. Axel tried his best to fight them, but he was only one knight. Soon he was buried under Bernsey and a horde of monsters. But just in time, Aaron flew back into the battle with everyone's armor and weapons. Now the team could end this. Time to try out the new Ultra Armor, Axel said. He couldn't wait to use Robin's upgrades. Murloc, Nexo Knight, Clay yelled. Costume change. Murloc's voice filled the set. Nexo power. Ultra Armor, activate! Suddenly, Clay's armor now had bonus whirling swords, and Lance's armor grew an awesome set of wings. Axel's giant fists gave him even more ways to pound his enemies into the ground. And Aaron had 4 cannons of firepower to use. And Macy had a mace blaster. Charge! Macy screamed as she ran toward the monsters. These new upgrades were awesome. How exactly do these things? Lance began to say, but before he could finish his sentence, his new wings opened and flew him high up into the air. Whoa, Lance yelled. He didn't know how to control his new armor yet. Luckily, everyone else was learning fast. Aaron's cannons were destroying monsters all around him. Macy used her mace blaster to take down Bernsey in one shot. Lance finally got his feet back on the ground, and his wings worked with Clay's new swords to create a tornado of destruction against the monsters. Axel's new iron fists were pounding monsters left and right. Macy noticed Lavaria trying to creep away secretly from the battle, but not on her watch. She ran at the monster, but the sneaky spy pushed her away. Aaron flew past, distracting Lavaria just long enough for Macy to bring out her mace blaster. It was time for her to save the day, just like all the knights that had inspired her. You're out of the picture, she told Lavaria as she fired. Jestro and the Book of Monsters knew they were defeated. It was time for them to escape before the Nexo Knights team caught them. Well, guys, Macy said, I think that's a wrap. But as the knights celebrated their victory, the director couldn't believe his eyes. My beautiful set! My epic film! Ruined! What was going to happen to the Golden Castle movie remake now? I wonder if they have a plan for that. Let's go to the movies. A few weeks later, Robin, Ava, and the Knights all attended the premiere of The Golden Castle. Everyone settle down. This is a momentous occasion for you, so you don't want to miss a word, Lance said. He was so excited to see himself playing a dashing hero on screen. But when the movie started, it wasn't the movie Lance had thought it was. It was all of his worst mistakes from the set. The director had edited the movie to make Macy the hero, and it even included her epic takedown of Lavaria. Well, Macy did save the day in the real fight, so maybe she deserved it. Everyone in the audience burst into laughter as they watched Lance lose control of his new wings. Lance, I didn't think this movie was a good idea at first, but thank you so much for letting me be a part of it, Macy said. We need to talk. I can make you a star, Lance's old agent told Macy. I'm more interested in battling monsters, Macy said. After all, she was living her dream of being a knight. That was so much cooler than just playing one in a movie, and no one could take that away from her. The end.